You must have heard a lot of classical music while still in the cradle because your parents actually were musicians.
Right, right. And not only were they musicians, they were both singers, and both singers who taught singing. So, anybody could know that and laugh and say, well, obviously that's what one has to have to become a singer. But in fact, the funny thing is, I really rebelled against it. I didn't want to sing at all.
Let's go back a phrase to let the bright seraphim. Let's do the whole. That whole joke.
It's funny. I realized recently that performing for me, what it's become, since I'm not a naturally gregarious person, the way in which I began to really love performing was to make it into a very spiritual experience. And during a performance, when I have time to really reflect on my life, even if it's only if it's not words, if it's just a sense of feeling, of imagining, where's my heart, where's my soul, where am I, are things well, is everything well with the world? And it's a great gift.
But here she is, ladies and gentlemen, to sing with the orchestra of the Age of Enlightenment, Renee Fleming.
it's difficult to describe, but the thing about Handel is that, first of all, for sheer invention, his music is amazing. I think he's highly underrated as a composer. I think people have completely underestimated him because when we think of Handel, we think of the Messiah. I don't know if that's true here, but
Especially you.
Definitely. And the Messiah is to concert repertoire what Carmen is to opera. We just think it's very popular, very mainstream.
It's kind of pizza margarita, actually.
Exactly. When
They
in
oversee
fact,
it.
Yes, exactly. When in fact, when one looks at his opera seria, and of course he was also, he wrote a lot of music. He was also a very prolific composer. And when it's like Rossini in a little bit too. We think of Barber of Seville, but in fact his serious operas are really tremendous. But Handel was incredibly prolific and wrote for a very long time, and it's just incredible. The music is so soulful and beautiful and emotional, and to have that depth of emotion in a style that is actually in some ways simple is an incredibly powerful combination, and I think that's what speaks to us today so strongly, because Handel is arguably one of the most popular opera composers today.
Du fleeting pleasures make your
Well, I don't think it makes sense to record any Baroque music today without a period orchestra. They are true specialists. They work together all the time, playing almost only this repertoire. And they also, one of the things I've noticed is they tend to be smaller organizations who work independently and who are therefore amongst each other extremely collaborative as musicians. And to be a part of an organization like that in a recording is an incredible experience. So I announced in the middle of my sessions that I was never ever again going to sing with a modern orchestra.
And did you keep to it?
No, I didn't keep to it. I was unfaithful many times this year, but I didn't want to be. I really loved singing with them. The other thing that was very exciting about them, first of all, the sound itself of these instruments is softer grained. I always say it's very sexy sound because it's somehow evocative and in a way that the clarity and purity of modern instruments can't quite replicate. I also found that the continuo players, and particularly the theobo, was the most inspirational instrument.
Just a very large
Yes,
lute.
a large lute, like a bass lute, and this small, very hip-looking woman with spiky hair came in and played like she was in a rock band. I mean, because she, like a bass player in a jazz orchestra, she drove the whole orchestra and was entirely the rhythmic impulse for everyone. And she sat next to me, so I was very inspired by her playing and by the orchestra in general. course I miss my children when I travel, which is why I've completely changed my schedule so that I'm home during the school year, with the exception of a couple of short trips or very short trips, and it works much better. And I explain to them, I mean, it's all they've ever known, so it's nothing new to them, but I explain that, you know, the trade-off is, of course, that when I am home, I'm home more than other parents. Even if I'm working, I'm at home. And other mothers who have very high-profile or demanding careers often are forced to be in their offices 60 hours a week, especially in New York, which is a very demanding workplace. We're all, you know, I take my cue from them, and right now they're doing really well.